Shalom! Welcome to Hebrew Literacy. Today we will be continuing our directed immersion in the book of Qoheleth, in English known as Ecclesiastes. Today we will be working through chapter 2, verse 13 in the original Hebrew, and if time permits, also verse 14. I'll be keeping an eye on the time as I go, and it's hard to predict because I never know what's going to come to mind, what I think might be useful or interesting to people. So sometimes we might not get to the verse because I'm trying to keep the size, the length about the right length, so we don't turn people off from studying. All right, let's just say a real quick prayer. Avinu Malkeinu, ken yhi ratzon ki et hakol asher edaber hayom hazeh yihye mimecha Adonai, loli loli v'lecha yihye kol hakavod, ta'azerna Adonai et kol talmidai, tishlachna et lachakhmah aleihem, v'gam alai, v'gam kol hadevrim asher אנחנו מדברים בזכות ישוע HaMashiach. All right. So apologies, this is a webcam because my SLR isn't turning on. I'm not sure why. Theory is probably the humidity after the flooding in here. The SLR itself was protected from any of the water, but water in the air, who can say? This is the room which has a working air conditioning in it. So I did run the air conditioning for like 20 hours trying to remove any humidity from the air. But, we got more rains and more rains and more rains. So anyway, I would like to dedicate this teaching for a refuah shelema, for the hearts and souls of all of the people in our town who know or who are related to or who loved the 7 lost souls who died because of the bad weather this week. 4 of them died from landslides, from mudslides, and 3 from drowning. So may Hashem restore their loved ones. May those souls be at rest, at peace. May Hashem Yacham, may He have mercy upon them all, and even bring some kind of good from the suffering, so that others may draw nearer to Him. All right, so let's go. Oh, here, in case you can't tell what the picture's about, he's supposed to be a wise, ancient Israeli king, but to give him kind of the European crown, whatever. I think it's a Star of David on top of there. Weighing between light and darkness, right? He's trying to judge between light and darkness. So, not too bad, not too bad. Took a few iterations. Okay. I'm trying to get my mouse in the right place. Maybe I'll just touch there. Did it. All right. Qoheleth, chapter 2, verse 13. וראיתי אני שיש יתרון לחכמה מן הסכלות, כיתרון האור מן החושך. Right. וראיתי. So, ראיתי, let me get my tablet here so I can draw on the screen. ראה. Oh, wait, no. Just fighting with devices a little bit. The T at the end tells us that the verb is I, right? I. And the next word, ani, is ani because of the accent. This also means I. So, ra'itu, it's from the verb ra'a, resh, aleph, hey, which is to see or to notice. And here we just have a regular vav here. And so then, etc. Raiti, I noticed. Ani, I. So I circled this with the magenta color because we usually use magenta for emphasis. So there's some kind of special emphasis happening here with the ani. I keep looking at the wrong camera. Look at the laptop, not at the camera. So it's like I myself noticed, or I indeed noticed. I indeed saw. Sheyesh. She is the separable preposition. It's not inseparable. It is actually separable. We refer to usually as asher. So that sheen reminds us of the sheen in the word asher. Asher. Which is the relative pronoun. It can mean who or which, and less commonly, when, where. This different W words. So that's the sheen. That's what's going on with that guy. Okay. And then yesh. Yesh literally means exists. Exists. This has carried through to the modern Hebrew dialect. You can say yesh li mashu. Exist li to me something. Right? I have something. I own something. It's how ownership is possessed. Exist to so and so. Right? Yesh lacha. Do you have such and such? Right? So here, sheyesh, that there exists or there is, to kind of make it sound more correct in English, a yitron. Yitron. That is an advantage. Yitron. It's from the verbal root yeter. Yod, tav, resh. Yeter. Which means to be excess, to be left over, and sometimes to be the best. Best. Like the creme de la creme. This is where one of Moshe, one of Moses' fathers-in-law, gets his name. The father of Tzipporah is Yithro or Yitro, his yeter, his excess, which really that's not what his mommy named him. It's more like his creme de la creme, right? His best, his best. Okay? Sometimes you get a noon at the end of a word in the morphology of forming a noun from the verb. Not always, but so don't think that that noon is always giving us some kind of emphasis. This is not the paragogic noon here. There's no emphasis happening. It's just how this particular noun was formed. Yitron. Sometimes the noon functions as kind of a diminutive, right? Like a little extra. So in this case, benefit, advantage, right? Those are going to be probably what we go with. Traditionally, that's how it's been interpreted. Ve'raiti ani, but I saw, or then I indeed saw sheyesh, that there is, or there exists, yitron, an advantage, an excess, something that is of benefit. Let me just clean up my screen. Lachakhmah. La, we have an inseparable preposition, meaning two. This word can mean two or four. Sorry, it's kind of hard to see it with my glasses on there. I'm nearsighted, so I'd have to take them off, but trying to make it not too sloppy. Two or four. Can have some other meanings, but those are the most common ones. Chokhmah, Chokhmah, wisdom. Now we have min. What's min? You guys know what min means. This is the hamotzi lechem min haaretz, who brings forth bread or food from min haaretz, the earth. Okay, so min means from, but this is an example of it functioning as what we call the mem of advantage, right, or the min of advantage. pardon me, not of advantage, of comparison. You do get a mem of advantage. I don't know why that was in my head. That's one of its other functions. In this case, it's the mem of comparison. So it's how we say er in English, right? Someone might be great. The other guy is greater, right? So the in English is expressed by min, right? So we would say gadol hu, great is he, many than me. He's greater than me. Literally, he is great is he from me, is how biblical Hebrew puts it. So in this case, chokhmah, wisdom, has a yitron, an advantage, an excess, something better about it, min, more so than hasikhlut. Ha, the, so the hey and the patach, the ah, and the dagesh there, those are all telling us it's the sikhlut, although that might not sound right in English or in your language to say that. So you could just say there is more of an advantage to wisdom than folly. That's sikhlut, folly or foolishness. Folly or foolishness. Now, Chazal say, the sages say, when we have various words like naval, etc., for a fool, or sikhlut, folly, foolishness, these sorts of things, many of Chazal, they teach that this concept of foolishness, this concept of a fool, of folly, it's actually wickedness, like evil, being evil. Right? That's the kind of foolishness we're not talking about some wise university professor who's very good with the Greek classics. And maybe he's a excellent mathematician as well, right? Keeps his his bread buttered on both sides. That's not what we're talking about when we talk about wisdom, the wisdom that is desired. Okay, that's in Greek, sure. Sophia, yeah, that includes that. But the chokhmah in Hebrew, it's about a righteous kind of wisdom, really, right? At least the part that is yitron, that is an advantage, largely is the one from righteousness. Because it's true, when you zoom in on this world, there is a kind of wisdom that seems great. You can become wealthy, you can all these sorts of things if you have the wisdom. If you have the raw meaning of chokhmah is the ability to make the right decision in a given situation. Okay, that's what chokhmah is. And we end up seeing this because of the understanding of what wisdom is. It's the ability to make a right choice, maybe because you know certain things, or maybe because Hashem has touched your heart, or given you some kind of favor, or whatever. Because of this, later on, the word develops in late biblical Hebrew to have this idea of skill, right? So you can have a skilled archer, right? A skilled archer, or someone who is skilled with the keshet, with the bow, and that means his hands have the ability to make the right choice. See, you can boil it all down to that if you think through it. His hands are able to make the right choice in a given situation, to fire at a slight angle because the wind is too strong or whatever, right? Or a skilled swordsman, etc., etc. All right. And oftentimes that will be expressed as Ba'al Chokhmat Mashihu, like a master or an owner of wisdom of something, whatever the something is, right? The art or whatever it might be, right? Like a wise artisan, etc. It's someone who owns wisdom of that craft. Okay. Now, that's kind of some support for what I'm saying about sikhlut and a naval having to do more with spiritual foolishness. I want to bring in Rashi here. Oops, I'm in the way. Let's move. Da, 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 da. Go back. Well, I'll just duck. Okay. Yeah, I want to move. Bear with me for a second. I lost my cursor. I'm a little confused where things are. Go here, and then we can go there. Hmm. Seems my pointer is stuck over there. So sorry that I can't pause. Anyway, maybe now's a good time if you have any comments or questions. I'm going to see what is going on here. Ah, that's why. All right. It thinks that the tablet is over on the other side. All right. Let's just put them down below. And we're back. There it is. You can see Rashi. So Rashi writes that the min hasikhlut means hu haresha. Hu haresha. That is the wickedness. So hasikhlut, he's saying, is synonymous with resha. You can see it. I have it over there in red with wickedness. Continuing. Ki yitron ha'ol min hachoshekh. Ki. This is like or as, or perhaps it's ki by itself. It's kind of joined yitron here, which would mean for yitron, the advantage of ha'ol. This is a construct chain here, according to the Masorah. The A here is telling us there are several Masoretic texts which have a slight variation here. They have ke yitron instead of kitron. So kitron is literally what this says. And now we have a construct chain. Let me mark that so it's a bit clearer. Okay. And we have a definite article, ha, on the word that is in the construct, in the absolute. So that means the whole chain is going to have the as part of it. So that will impart its definiteness to the entire chain. When I say its definiteness, I mean its the-ness, the. Like, see that okay? The there. So we have because of, if it's a key that kind of merged, but if it's just ke, like some have, then like the yitron, the advantage of the ol, ha'ol, the light. Min, another min comparison, mem of comparison, more than ha-choshech, the darkness. So one more time through. ראיתי אני שיש יתרון לחכמה מן הסכלות. וראיתי אני, for I myself, or I indeed have seen, with the idea of understood, noticed, sheyesh, that there exists yitron, an advantage, lachakhmah, to the wisdom, or to wisdom, min hasikhlut, more than folly, or as Rashi says, haresha, the wickedness. Kitron ha'ol, like the advantage of light, min, more than hachoshech, the darkness. And I have one more comment here I want to share. Let me put the Rashi one back up. There's the Rashi one. And we have another one. Okay, gonna need to get out of the way. The Targum Yonatan translates into the Jewish Aramaic the entire verse, interestingly. I saw by the spirit of prophecy that there is an advantage, that's the yitron, to wisdom over folly, above the advantage of the light of the day over the darkness of the night. Okay. All right, we're going to change to the next verse. Try to squeeze that in so we can make some good progress. Let me just clean the slide up a little bit. All right, changing slides in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, this is Qoheleth, Ecclesiastes, chapter 2, verse 14. The Hebrew says, hechakham einaiv בראשו, והסכיל bachoshekh holech. Let's stop there at the etnachta. Hechakham, the wise man. Now, we have a definite article here that's a little bit interesting, how it's pointed, if you're not used to this. You'll note we have the vowel segol here. Hechakham. Okay, that pointing is because when you have a chet with a kametz under it, we point it as segol. That's just how you point it. That's the rule. So don't let it bother you, and you don't have to remember this. But for those of you who want to know, there it is. Einaiv. Einaiv. The eyes of Ive. From einayim, meaning eyes, we drop the mem. Einay is eyes of. Vav. His eyes, the eyes of him. His eyes. Okay. And the blue square, meaning it's a construct, eyes of him, if you want to remember it that way. Okay, hold on, I'm having an equipment issue. There, tricked it. Okay. Berashut. Be is in. Right? Beit, that's our inseparable preposition. In. Rosh is head of O. Of O. Of O. The head of him. In head of him. In his head. So hechakham einaiv berosho. The wise man, his eyes are in his head, meaning he's looking where he's going. He's got the wisdom to not just stumble into something foolish. By the way, if you like what we're doing here, please consider going over here to patreon.com/Hebrew literacy and sign up to be a monthly patron. It really helps us not only to survive, but to get more equipment, to make things better, so the teaching can prosper. Let's stop recording. Oops. So I thought I hit the hotkey for stop recording by accident, and I was looking at it, it says stop recording. Sorry, I'm staring a little confused. But it's still recording, Baruch Hashem, so good that didn't go through. Also, we have extra content over there. There's Isaiah Dominance, which is a directed immersion class in the book of Isaiah. Slow paced. It's going to take a year or more to complete, but if you're going to dominate the book of Isaiah and all the 66 chapters in that difficult Hebrew, it's good to go slow. And some of my teachings from the book of Revelation, looking at the original Jewish Greek and restoring Hebrew, some of that's out there. And some various other teachings that are only available for my patrons. Okay. All right, so let's get back to it. Ve'hakasil. But, very clearly we should translate this vav as a but. But, The vav of adversity, it's called. But the kasil, and here we have the definite article following the normal way that it's pointed most of the time. Ha, with a patach ah under it and a strong dagesh in that first word, in the next verse. I mean, in the the first letter in the word. Kasil, because in ancient times it was hal, and the lamed has assimilated there into the kaf. Hal, hal, halk. Hal became hak kasil. There's actually two kafs there. But the fool, the kasil, bachoshekh. Bachoshekh. So here we have the bait, inseparable preposition. In, the fool in, and then we have the footprint left behind from the definite article, choshech. Now you might be saying, okay, what's going on here? Why on earth do we have a segol here? That's the three dots, right, showing the S sound right before the chet, and here we have a patach before the chet. Chet usually doesn't need doubling, so usually it just stays as the and the lamed is lost from the ancient hal. Only in the very special case when there is a comets, that's the capital T letter looking vowel sound underneath the chet, then we have to put here. Similar thing happens with an ayin with a comets if the ayin's unaccented. Again, you don't have to know all these details. Please don't get stressed. Doesn't matter. If you are the kind of person who just accepts that he means the in the same way that ha means the, and you don't care whether there's a dagesh or not, it's fine. That's enough. We just want to understand the text, right? This is not a biblical Hebrew composition course, right? This is learning to understand the works that are already written. Okay? It's a different kind of person who wants to write things in biblical Hebrew. So if that's not you, you don't need to know all of this. Don't stress. If you like to know it, also great. You may find that when you go to teach it, like one of my students, she was sharing with me recently, now she's teaching her parents, and it's making her go and focus in more detail on all the grammar, because when they say, why is it like this? You want to have the answer, right? Because you always do have those students who want to know. Okay? So bait in the choshech, darkness, holech. Remember, we had there's two signs for holech, like this or like this. So holech is from the verb halach, to walk. It is an active participle, which is technically a verbal adjective. So it's what it's doing is it's referring back to hakisil, the fool. But hakisil, bachoshekh holech, but the fool in the darkness, and then literally it means walking. Okay, walks. Okay, let's continue. How are we doing on time? Not too bad, not too bad. Next, Vyadati, the verb yada, to know, to know. The vav is and or but. Here another adversative vav. We'll just color that with a normal green color, as I usually do with the conjunction when it's not giving another special function. But yadati, yadati. The T at the end we know is I. I. Gam, also ani, also I, just like the previous verse. Qoheleth is including an emphatic pronoun here, so we're going to color it magenta, or circle it with magenta, right, to show there's some emphasis here. Because yada, T already means, but I know. Yada is no, and T at the end is I. I know, I keep looking at that camera. Gam, also ani, also I. So I myself know. So probably what's happening here, the gam and the ani are both acting kind of as emphasizing particles. So I'm going to just give a hint here that the gam. So I indeed know, or also I know. And I want to share with you a comment from the Hebrew scholar Choon, Leong, Seow. He writes in his commentary on Ecclesiastes, but I also know, in scare quotes, the wow here is adversative, as is the particle gam. So that gam is kind of cooperating with the vav, like I indeed know. Shemikreh, pardon me, shemikreh. Shemikreh, mikra is different. Shemikreh. So the sheen here, we have again the separable preposition. Oops, really hard to focus. Okay, we just have to do it like this. That is driving me crazy. Okay, there we go. So that is from Asher, just like we had on the previous screen, previous verse. Asher, meaning it's a relative pronoun, which, who, when. Okay. Asher was a terrible, hey, I apologize. Let's fix that. Definitely someone's going to yell at me in the comments about that. Reish. Preempted. Asher, that is kind of the general meaning. Mikre, mikre. So mikre, it's from the verbal root kara, kof resh he, or some say kuf resh he, which is to occur, to happen. Okay, but mikre is usually translated as fate, and so I have a comment on this I want to share with you. So the sage Metsudat Tzion, he comments on shemikreh here that it is me'ora. Me'ora. And if you're wondering what that means, according to Jastral, that means an event or an occasion. That is me'ora in rabbinical Hebrew. Jastral he had his life ambition to make a lexicon for the vast majority of rabbinical literature. So his lexicon, which is in the public domain, includes the Jewish Aramaic of the Midrashim, the Gemara, as well as a lot of the Mishnaic Hebrew from the Mishnah and such, and rabbinical commentaries. So really, really just a monumental resource, and it's kind of amazing. He died a matter of weeks after he completed his work. So there really is some power to hanging in there and getting it done, right? Whatever it is that your purpose in life that Hashem has put in your heart to get it done, it's really important to find your lifelong goal, what you're supposed to do to leave a mark, whether it be on your children, your grandchildren, your congregation, your community, whatever it is that you're supposed to do, have that defined because it can keep you alive, like it did with Jastrow. May he rest in peace. So the reason I wanted to point out that it's event or an occasion is because this word fate, it's not fate like you think. And I know Peh and some others asked about this. Like, so there really is like fate in the Bible. It's saying like you have destiny. Like the religion of Shalom teaches that if you sin or if you don't sin, it's Allah who decided for you. Right? It's total predestination. A lot of people, they don't understand their own religion. They think that it's not predestined, but the authentic sources have their prophet himself saying that, no, it's destiny. If you're interested, there's a little Sahih hadith, or a hadith, which has Moshe and Adam Rishon arguing with each other. And Moshe Rabbeinu, and again, this is Sahih, meaning they accept it as authentic. This is something that their prophet taught. And Moshe is kind of criticizing Adam. He says, "Oh, Adam, our father, how could you have done this to us? Look what you've done by sinning. You got kicked out of the garden," which they believe means kicked out of Jannah, kicked out of heaven and sent to earth. And now we all have to suffer through this. And then Adam says, "What are you talking about? Don't you know that Allah, for 40 years before I was even created, had planned for me to sin? It was the divine plan." So, and then it goes on to say, and so Adam confuted Musa. Adam confuted Musa. Adam confuted Musa. It says it 3 times. And thank you to Christian Prince for illuminating this hadith. And so that's it. There, it's you have no choice in that religion. You're destined to either go to hell or to go to heaven, and you can't do anything about it. You're destined to sin. You're intended to sin. That is not what shemikreh means. That is not what it means. When we say fate, I meant to put up a comment here. Rabbi Michael Fox, in his wonderful JPS commentary on Qoheleth, says, Qoheleth, whenever he says fate, what he means is death. He means death. That's the ultimate fate. It's like the ultimate end, the ultimate event, like Metsudat Tzion is explaining this. He's clarifying that this is not fate like the Mohammedans understand fate. This is death. So that even the wise man and even the kasil, even the fool, hechakham at the top, and also the hakasil, that there is a mikra, a so-called fate, echad, one. There's one fate. That means death. The fate is death. Don't read into that too much. Yikreh, and here, Qoheleth, I like he's doing a play on words. Here's the verb from which this word mikreh comes from. Yikreh, it's actually yikreh. The yi means he or it. He, because we call it a he or a she, depending on the gender in biblical Hebrew. He or it will kare. This is an imperfect, so it just happens. It happens. Shemikreh echad yikre. That one fate, meaning death, or that's the event or occurrence that Metsudat Tzion is talking about, happens. Et is the definite direct object marker, and then the last word, kulam, to everyone. One fate happens to everyone. And there we are, 43 minutes. I think that's, or 42 minutes. I think that's pretty good. If you have any comments or questions, please be sure to ask us now in the live chat, or down below. You can leave your comment or question, and I will do my best to get back to you. But when the back and forth goes too much, oftentimes I don't get informed by the software that you've replied to my reply. So if you ask another question, don't think I'm just ignoring you or something. I'm very grateful for all of your interactions with me and for Hashem sending me students. I'm very happy to have you as Talmidim. Or sometimes people think, haha, I defeated him. If we're like arguing or something, having a discussion, a discussion where we disagree. No, if you really want to come over and talk to me for a lot, then talk to me intensely, or you want to discuss with other people who are also studying Hebrew, then you need to join us over here. You need to get the Telegram app, which is for Mac, Windows, iOS, Android, and meet us at t.me, that's me, / Hebrew literacy. Here it doesn't matter what your sect is. We're all just there to improve our knowledge, and oftentimes I learn from you guys too, of the Lashon HaKodesh, the Holy Tongue. All right, you guys, have a great evening or day, whatever the case may be, and I will see you for the ancient Israeli triennial Torah portion this Shabbat. Shalom, shalom.